Child exploitation is a simple term to describe terrible crimes, covering everything from child pornography to sexual abuse. Sometimes those victims, though, don't seem real until you can put a face on them. KIMT News 3's Sarah Danek has a story of a woman speaking out for more than a decade on this issue.
Alicia Kozakiewicz has a bright smile and loves to laugh, and she does not take those things for granted. She believes it's a miracle she's even alive.
I continue to tell my story, even though it's very painful, because it's still happening to others.
And while it's hard to share at times, Alicia wants to give her experience a purpose and shine a light on the dark side of the internet. Now, we do want to warn you, parts of this story are graphic. As a 13-year-old, Alicia Kozakiewicz started to spend more time at her family's computer. The internet was becoming more mainstream, and teens were logging on.
It felt like somewhere I could be safe, where I could speak up a little bit more, even though it wasn't speaking, it was typing, but where I could voice my opinion more.
She created a screen name and started getting introduced to other people through friends. Along the way, Alicia met her future abductor.
He groomed me, and that can seem like a very complicated term, but it's so simple, especially when it comes to a child. It's just telling them what they want to hear.
What Alicia didn't know was exactly who she was talking to.
I thought it was somebody around my own age, and I didn't think anything else. Now people go, how could you not know? But I was a 13-year-old kid. 13-year-old kids think they know everything.
That friend turned out to be 38-year-old Scott Tyree, a computer programmer from Virginia. And after months of grooming Alicia, he took a trip to her home in Pennsylvania.
Well, on New Year's Day, 2002, between dinner and dessert, I walked outside to meet this person who I thought was my friend.
Just thinking you'd meet him for a couple minutes.
I really think I just wanted to say, hey, will he show up? Say hi, driving through town.
What she does remember is slipping out her front door into the bitter cold January night.
My intuition had said, Alicia, you need to go home. This is really dangerous. What are you doing? And I went to turn around, and I heard my name being called. And next thing I knew, I was in a car. And this man was squeezing my hand so tightly, and he was barking commands at me. Be good, be quiet, the trunk's cleaned out for you. He drove me about 5 hours from my Pittsburgh home to his house in Virginia, where I was held captive in his basement dungeon. He kept me chained to the floor by a locking dog collar, and I was raped and beaten and tortured. I wasn't fed, and he also broke my nose. Now, there's no words to describe how did that make you feel. There's no words to describe the terror and the pain and the loss of self and hopelessness that you can feel in that situation.
On the fourth day, Tyree told her they would be taking a ride later and left for work. Little did Alicia know, the FBI was at work looking for her. Later that day, agents finally found her, chained up in her abductor's bedroom.
All these agents rushed in and they cut that collar from around my neck and they set me free and gave me a second chance at life.
The FBI had received a tip from a man in Florida. That man had met Tyree online and witnessed Alicia's nightmare over live streaming video. He had heard about a missing girl from Pittsburgh and made the connection. Alicia doesn't consider him a hero. She believes he just didn't want to be considered an accomplice.
It's amazing, one monster coming forward about another. I'm so lucky. But to think that there are so many children right this second, as we're speaking, as people are watching this, who are being raped, who are being tortured, who are being degraded.
Alicia understands the power of her story and shares it with parents and young people around the nation.
I wasn't torn from the silver screen of a horror film or ripped from the pages of a scary novel. This happened to me. It happened in real life. And it's happening to so many kids right now.
Even with more awareness about online exploitation, Alicia believes children face more of a threat than ever before. So she teaches a new kind of stranger danger.
Everybody has to do their part. Parents have to know what's going on. They have to monitor the child's activity. But the kid also has to be careful, and they have to know that horrible things can happen if they aren't careful.
And Alicia won't stop telling her story even all these years later.
Whether it's in the park or through the internet or within the home, there will always be child predators.
And another part of Alicia's work that's very close to her heart is her partnership with the group Protect. Together, they're pushing for the passage of Alicia's law in all 50 states. Now, that legislation makes sure permanent state-specific funding is in place for law enforcement units that fight child exploitation. And according to Protect, Alicia's law is in place in Virginia, Texas, Arizona, Hawaii, and Idaho. And similar legislation was passed in California and Tennessee as well. We'll have more information about Alicia's law on our website, KINT.com.